Vasco is the best companion in Starfield, and you won't convince me otherwise. Can I romance him? No, that wouldn't be right. Unless, let's break down all the crew, companions, and roster systems in Starfield. Let's go! Let me know in the comments which is your favorite companion that's been shown, and if you're going to romance anyone. So let's have a general overview of these companions that was sort of talked about in the direct. So companions will join you as part of the story, or you may find them as you just sort of explore from, say, various factions. I would assume that you'll have companions linked to certain factions that you can recruit. Now, there is an affinity system linked to these companions based on the choices that you make. They will either like the decisions you make or dislike them. Maybe that leads to them leaving your party if you really do things that they don't like. And it's also mentioned that you can blossom those relationships into romances. You can also apparently choose to get an opinion from your companions in some conversation. So if you're really trying to get into that romance or even just build that affinity with them, then you can sort of make those decisions based on that. A clear distinction that I want to make in this video that is talked about in the direct that I think everyone should be aware of is the difference between a companion and a crew member. Think of this like settlers and companions in Fallout 4. You had settlers that were like at your outpost and what have you, and then you had your companions, which were fully fleshed out companions that had their own voice actors and storylines. You could romance them, etc. And you can't really do that with settlers. I think this is very similar to what's going to happen with crew members in Starfield, except there is definitely more to them. So not only do they seem to have a bit more uniqueness to them, just, you know, they all seem to be like named, a little bit of a story there, as you can sort of find them at spaceports and at random events in the world. Speaking of those random events, actually, in the direct we see the player come across Hella at like a sort of like a destroyed moon sort of a thing, and he's obviously one of these crew members. He has 2 skills. Is this the same guy that's at the very start of the game, like that intro scene?
No physical damage. Mentally, the jury's still out.
Still think there might be a spot for me on your ship?
I kind of think it is. Like, I'm not really sure, but they seem very similar in terms of their facial structure and almost in their voice as well. But obviously in this scene, he's wearing a helmet. But I'm curious, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So these crew members seem to have like 2 or 3 skills, and all the companions seem to have 4, and their skills are definitely more further along in terms of their ranks than what it seems like the crew members are. The last sort of like companion crew member thing is that you can control seemingly creatures with the xenosociology skill. I don't know if this means you can recruit them or you can just control them for a certain amount of time or what have you, but I would love to create like an army of creatures on like a planet, say like this planet, cool outpost, build the outpost, and you can like have your own farm of creatures. I really hope we can do that. But anyway, a big thing to look at is the outpost sort of crew roster screen. Now, what we initially see here is that on the crew roster screen, you can break down this based on ship, your current outpost, and your outpost in general. On this screen, we can also see that the player has Barrett, a companion with 4 skills, Sam Coe, a companion with 4 skills, and Sarah Morgan, another companion with 4 skills. And then the 2 crew members being the Marika boards and Hella, as well as the mini security bot, which doesn't have any skills. And I assume that's just because they're like, you know, a robot. I don't know if Vasco will have skills. That's an interesting thing that we may need to wait and see if he's sort of the same as a security mini bot. But what we can see on this screen here is a couple of things. So not only can we see the different skills that these have, but you can see that certain skills are highlighted. And when the player assigns Hella to an outpost, the outpost engineering skill highlights, indicating that these skills are actually in use based on their current assignment in the crew roster screen. So you can see that they're using those skills. While this screen doesn't really show that there's a lot that you can add to the crew roster, I believe that you're going to be able to scroll further down this list, right? Because we can see in the ship customization screens that you can have like 6 or 7 crew members on a single ship, and this screen only shows you 6 available. So I assume that you're going to be able to apply more than, say, 6 actual crew members and companions to different things. But I really like the complexities in this system. It seems like it's a much more advanced version of being able to assign settlers and companions to different settlements in the Fallout system, and it actually means something here. Really like how this is sort of developed from the old Fallout system. Skills and traits will also affect your relationships and your connections with everyone. So firstly, in traits, we see that there is an introvert and an extrovert trait. So the introvert trait, you really need your alone time. Exerting yourself uses less oxygen, which is basically stamina, when adventuring alone, but more when adventuring with other human companions. The interesting thing to point out here is it says human companions. So assumedly then if you've got Vasco with you, this doesn't get affected by introvert, and extrovert is the opposite of this, right? Assumedly, the more human companions you have, the less oxygen then that you'll actually consume because you're not adventuring alone. We do also see the adoring fan, which is is a recruitable crew member slash companion. Not exactly sure which category they fit into, but they definitely want to be brought with you because obviously they're your biggest fan, but also from their skills, right? So they have scavenging to allow you to find more things, concealment for stealth, and weightlifting to carry more of your burdens. So there's definitely value to that, but what category the Adoring fan fits into, we don't know, but he obviously is related to that sort of crew companion system. There is also kid stuff. I wonder if you can actually get your parents to like come with you, you know, like come into your ship and stuff, or if they're just like locked into their home, not really sure there. And then there's the religious traits, which may also play a role. So the main one we see in the direct is the Serpent's Embrace, but there are these religious traits which may play a role in whether certain companions will join you or if certain companions feel a certain way about you. In the skills, we've seen a couple of actual skills that seem to be related to this. Now, there is the social tree, which is related to all sorts of social aspects, but one of the key things we see here is the leadership skill, which will make companions gain affinity 15% faster. This is a really interesting skill, which is obviously going to be important if you're looking to build those romances and connections with all of your companions, and the xenosociology skill, which we touched on a little bit earlier, which allows you to have some sort of control over creatures. But if there's any other skills related to these sort of social aspects, we don't yet know, but there is a lot of skills in the social tree. Let's cover off all the known companions. Now, in previous titles, we can probably expect pretty much a companion for all of the major factions. Like that's sort of generally what Bethesda go for, though it does seem like there is a lot more for Constellation because of their connection to the main story. Now, Sarah Morgan is the first one that we see, and she's an ex-soldier and adventurer. She's Constellation's leader. Sarah joins you to help find the artifacts or until that lead runs dry, and assumedly because of this, she'll be one of the first companions you get because that artifact connection is a core part of the narrative. And we see her skills here that she starts off with, which is astrodynamics, lasers, leadership, and botany. Astrodynamics increases your grav drive capacity, and obviously lasers is for laser rifles. Leadership we talked about earlier. Botany, I actually don't know what that does, so let me know in the comments if you do know what botany is. Next we see Sam Coe, the former space cowboy. I don't actually know what makes you a former space cowboy. He still looks like a space cowboy to me, but he also seems to be a part of the Freestar Collective. So again, that sort of faction-based companion. The skills we see for Sam here are piloting, so it will help you sort of pilot your ship, assumedly, like maybe make maneuvers a little bit easier. Rifle certification, so they are better with rifles. Payloads, which increases the amount of mass that your ships can store. And geology, which is like the study of rocks, so assumedly something to do with being able to scan rocks, get some more rocks, resources, or something. I don't know.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
Next up, we see Barrett. Now, he seemingly is a member of Constellation, and he strikes me as sort of like the vanilla companion, right? Like the companion that's not really going to feel very strongly about anything. He's just sort of like a gun-ho guy who's going to sort of follow you and have a good time, right? Now we see that his skills here are Starship Engineering, Particle Beam Weapon System, which increases the effectiveness of those types of weapons on your starship, Robotics, which increases the damage done to robots, and Gastronomy, which is like a chef skill, so assumedly Barrett can do some cooking for you. The homie Vasco is assumedly also a companion. Now we don't know if he has any skills, but we do know that he attack and he protect and he a good boy and we love him, so that's all we need to say about Vasco. There are others mentioned as part of like the Constellation group, but we don't rightly 100% know if they're all going to be companions. I wouldn't think they would be because that's a lot of Constellation specific companions. Maybe they can just join you as sort of like crew members, that sort of a thing, but we'll just go through them anyway. So firstly, we've got Mateo, which is a theologian that believes that there's something out there, like, you know, intelligent aliens. That seems to be his interest with the artifact. We've got Noelle, who is a gifted scientist and seemingly second in command for Constellation. Now, if she is sort of a companion, they're obviously going to be sort of science-based skills because of her gifted scientist abilities. We've also got Walter, who's the businessman in the settled systems. Now, he is the Constellation's financer, and we've got Vlad, which is an ex-pirate, assumedly some sort of Crimson Fleet connection there, and if he was a companion, you know, you've got those physical skills. So there is definitely differences between these four characters and if they do choose to join you, but I'm not sure if they are actually going to be fully fleshed out companions or if they're just sort of like, you know, the extra members of Constellation that won't come with you on your journey. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.